still remember the moment I realized we were utterly alone. No beacons, no relays, no signal from Earth. Just a hollow hiss of static across every frequency. It wasn't just comms failure. It felt like the void itself had swallowed the rest of the universe whole, and I was whispering into a grave. We'd been on a routine survey near the outer edge of Sector 9 Kilo, an unremarkable patch of space dotted with ancient debris fields and the occasional dead satellite. Nothing was supposed to be out there, nothing living at least. But when the nav system began spitting out corrupted coordinates and the emergency transponder defaulted to code black, I felt something twist in my gut. The ship, Argent Dawn, began drifting. At first, just a lazy wobble off course, then full system blackout. Artificial gravity stuttered. Lights flickered like dying fireflies. I floated in that stuttering dark, unanchored, unhearing, a single heartbeat echoing in my helmet like a drum beat in a coffin. The only sound was the creaking of metal, not from the ship's systems, but from the hull itself, like it was settling or breathing. It was 2 days before I could get basic life support back online. The emergency lights bathed everything in that sickly amber glow that turns shadows into lurking things. I was alone. Captain Vasquez had gone EVA to check an external relay just before the blackout, and she never came back. I watched the footage. She drifted out tethered, then froze mid-movement. No impact, no breach, just stopped, like time had forgotten her. I tried calling out. No answer. I replayed it. Her visor reflected the stars, only they weren't the right stars. I was trained in deep space navigation, old school, sextants and star charts, the sort of thing you study for heritage credits but never expect to use. Our ancestors used them on old Earth ships, before satellites, before AI. I remembered my instructor saying, "The stars don't lie. Even when everything else fails, they're the one true constant." But when I pulled up the emergency sky maps from the analog archive and overlaid them on the dome, something was wrong. The constellations were fractured, familiar shapes twisted, rearranged. Ryan's belt had 4 stars. The Cassiopeia W was inverted. Some of the stars pulsed, not like distant suns, but like they were watching. I marked them anyway. I needed an anchor. I plotted a course using what I could, used triangulation from known variables, adjusted for drift. The nav AI was still dead, so everything was manual. I told myself it was temporary, a matter of time before we re-established contact, picked up a beacon, anything. But space had gone silent. Not quiet, silent. The kind of silence that presses against your skull like water pressure, like it's trying to get in. The further I tried to pilot us home, the more the stars began to shift, like they were reacting, rearranging. What once seemed familiar became alien. The ship's velocity readings became erratic. Sometimes I'd wake up and the logs would show we'd jumped 100,000 kilometers in 1 second, then not moved at all for 3 days. At first, I thought it was sensor glitch, but it wasn't. I'd leave marks, chalk scratches on the pressure doors, return hours later to find them smeared, or replaced with symbols I never drew, circles within circles, crude starburst. Once, a perfect spiral made with something that looked like soot. I started hearing footsteps, not inside the ship, on the hull. I stopped sleeping, not out of choice. Every time I closed my eyes, I'd feel something watching me. A presence, not malevolent, not exactly, just curious, waiting. I barricaded the cockpit, rigged motion sensors from old maintenance drones. 4 nights in, One activated. I rushed to the monitor, static. Then a frame, just one, of the airlock door. Open. No alerts had triggered. No air pressure changes. But it was open. I searched the corridor. Nothing there. But the entire ship was colder, like something had passed through. I started charting the pulse star patterns. They followed no known logic. Every 72 hours, a new one would brighten, then dim. I began to suspect they weren't stars at all. Maybe beacons, or eyes. I triangulated using 3 of the most consistent ones. Not to find my way back to Earth, but to get somewhere that didn't change. A place where coordinates meant something. I adjusted course. That's when I started seeing her. Captain Vasquez, out of the corner of my eye, standing down the corridor, floating past a viewport, her visor reflecting those wrong stars. I checked the logs again. The footage of her EVA had changed. This time her head turned, looked directly at the camera. Her faceplate had fogged up from inside, and when it cleared, it wasn't her face anymore. Days or weeks passed. The ship no longer tracked time correctly. Clocks ran backward. Sometimes I'd watch them melt, my hands oozing like wax. I stopped trusting them and used sleep cycles to measure days. But even those felt off. I began dreaming while awake. Walking the corridors, I'd suddenly be elsewhere. The control deck filled with stars instead of panels. The walls made of shifting black stone, inscribed with constellations that moved. In one vision, I saw Earth, blue, whole, but distant, so distant. The stars around it flickered out one by one until only a single eye remained above our planet, watching. I think that was the first time I cried. Then I found the journal. It wasn't mine, not Vasquez's either. It looked old, leather-bound, brittle pages. Definitely not standard issue. Inside, sketches of the same spiral symbols I'd seen on the doors. Notes scrawled in multiple hands. The stars remember. Stay in line with the seer's eye. Don't respond to reflections. One page showed a map, a pattern of stars I'd never seen. But when I overlaid it with current skies, every star matched perfectly. The center of the map was labeled with a single word: home. I adjusted course one final time, followed the map. The moment I did, the ship stabilized. Instruments returned to normal. Gravity settled. Navigation logs cleared themselves and began recording fresh data. But something had changed. The stars outside weren't moving anymore. They were fixed, still, like a painting, and the void stopped humming. Just silence again, but not empty this time. It was full. On the 9th day of following that map, Earth came into view, or something that looked like it. Blue oceans, green land masses, clouds, all exactly as I remembered, but the moon had a scar across its surface, a deep black mark that pulsed like a heartbeat. I hailed Earth Command. No response. I hailed Lunar Base. Silence. I broadcast an emergency loop. Then all the screens in the cockpit flickered. Every single one. Static turned to images, not of Earth, but of me. Sleeping. Sitting at the console. Eating. Always from the same angle. As if someone, or something, had been filming me from inside the ship. But I was alone, wasn't I? The logs now update themselves. I stopped writing in the captain's journal, but new pages appeared daily, written in my hand, describing events that haven't happened yet. I tried destroying the book, burned it. It reappeared in my bunk the next morning, fresh, waiting. I've stopped trying to plot course corrections. The stars around us haven't changed in days. A new constellation has formed, right outside my viewport. It's in the shape of an eye, and it blinks every 30 seconds, without fail. I don't know where I am now. I don't think I'm in space anymore. I think space is in me, and it's watching.